Okay, so before we dive into it, where's the screen? Down there. Okay, so before we dive into it, a little bit about myself. So I've worked in the corporate environment for 35 years. For 20, I have to keep looking around at the slides because that is so small. For 20 years of those, I was on the senior management team for one particular company. And in that time, we grew the business from 2 million to 65 million. And I really hope those figures are the same as the ones that are up there. In 1995, I also became an accidental landlord. So whilst working in the corporate sector, I was also building my property portfolio as well. What else? 2017, I decided I didn't want to be a landlord anymore. I wanted to be a property investor. So I quit the day job. And I signed up to, where is it? This one here, the 12-month mastermind program. I applied everything I knew from my corporate background to my property business. And that meant I knew I needed to systemize the business, and I couldn't do everything myself. So I took on a virtual assistant from the Philippines to help me with all the time-consuming, day-to-day things that need to be done in my business. Can I just ask, anybody in the room got a virtual assistant? If you put your hand up, a few people. Good. A lot of people in my mastermind group were coming to me and they were saying, wow, Richard, you've got this VA and this virtual assistant is doing all this stuff for you. Some people were saying that they tried working with a virtual assistant and it hadn't really worked out for them. And I found that there were common mistakes, common reasons why it wasn't working out. And so people started to ask me if I could help them grow and scale their business and systemize it and perhaps recruit for them a virtual assistant. So it sort of turned into a business. So 2018, I formed a business, and that's exactly what I started doing for people. Started doing some mentoring, doing a bit of recruitment, and that business was called Awaken to Business. Became really, really successful with that, getting lots and lots of clients, and I suddenly found that I now had another job. And I also started to think to myself, how can I grow and scale that business and make it world class? And that is when Valuation came along. So Valuation, we not only do we recruit virtual assistants from the Philippines and place them with businesses actually all over the world, but a lot of them here in the UK and a lot of them property investors, because that's my niche. But we train them in all the things that need to be done within businesses, in how to do these admin things. Everything is process driven, everything's systemized. So that's what Valuation is all about. I am also the short-term rentals or serviced accommodation trainer for PIN. And I also, should put it on here, I also write for YPN magazine, and I do training for YPN magazine as well. So here we are. So these are Ben talking about branding. Awaken to Business is the business. There was a question earlier about how you incorporate it if you've got 2 or 3 things going on. Awaken to Business is a company. There's a difference between a company and a brand. Awaken to Business is a company. Valuation is a brand. It is not a company. Actually, your virtual marketing is a company, but it could just be a brand under Awaken to Business. We also have a couple more that I could throw up here as well. We have Answer for Business, which is a virtual reception service. All of these things are brands, they're services, they're products, if you like, but not necessarily companies. So, most people, when they start out in property, they start out as a landlord. They are the business, they go out, they find the deals, they set the property up, they then go and find tenants or whatever it is that needs to be done. They move the tenants in, they collect the rents, they do the banking. They're just like a hot dog man or lady, okay? They are the business. The hot dog man, he goes out, he buys the stock, he cooks it all up and serves it and then does the banking afterwards. So that's like being a landlord. Now, I know that a lot of people here at the beginning of their journey, but that is where most people actually start out. Are there any landlords here? Show of hands. Oh, there's actually quite a few. Okay, so then you move up to investor level. If you remember, I said in 2017, I decided I wanted to go from being a landlord to being an investor. Now, an investor is like being a restaurateur. You've now got a team. So you've got cooks in the kitchen cooking up the food, people washing the plates, etc. Front of house, you've got perhaps somebody welcoming people when they're coming in. You've got waiters, you've got waitresses, you may have bar staff. So you've got this team that are all doing different things, and you are there conducting the team. So that's what it's like to be at investor level. Can I have a show of hands of anybody that would put themselves at investor level? Okay, yeah, and that's all right. So often you may be in that phase of going from one to the other. Then finally, you get entrepreneur level. So now on entrepreneur level, you've got a much bigger business. You may have multiple streams of income, different businesses doing different things. So you're a bit like a McDonald's now. Who would put themselves at entrepreneur level? Good. Okay, that's probably 3 more than most of these meetings that I do. So what we're going to talk about today is about how you move up through those different levels. And, you know, if you're at landlord level and you want to stay at landlord level, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Who's heard of Sterling Moss? Only the old people in the room, probably. Most people. Sterling Moss was a landlord. Okay, he was also, you know, probably one of the most famous racing drivers that ever walked the planet, but he was also a landlord. He had a property portfolio in Chiswick, and he used to ride around, when he was in the country, wind around, visiting his properties, visiting his tenants in Chiswick, and he was quite happy with that. He enjoyed that. So, you know, you don't necessarily have to move out of being a landlord if you don't want to. But what I'm going to talk about is how you progress up if you do want to grow your business. So, first of all, I'm going to explain the functional areas of every business, and this slide always goes skew if, I don't know why. First area is marketing. So this is how you attract people to your business, how you generate inquiries. Then next you've got sales, so now you're converting those inquiries through to firm up business where people are going to give you money for whatever you do. Then you've got operations, how you deliver your product or your service. I'm not just talking about property businesses, I'm talking about all businesses. Then you've got finance, how you get paid, how you pay your suppliers, how you pay your people, your credit control, everything to do with the numbers. And then the 5th bit is client retention, how you go on to do repeat business with your clients. So these are the functional areas of every single business. It's important to understand that. What you need to do is you need to systemize each of those functional areas. So, what do we mean by systemize? We often hear that term, oh, you know, put systems in place, systemize. What does that exactly mean? There are 3 ingredients to systemizing your business, systemizing the functional areas and systemizing your business. The first is software. So you need to be using the right software to automate the things that need to be done in your business. The next is process. Process are the steps that you go through to achieve the various different outcomes that you need to achieve in your business. Always doing things the same way. And then the third bit are people. People that are using the software, people that are running the process to achieve what you need to achieve. And when you've got all of those 3 things in place, then you have got a systemized business. So, why do you need to systemize your business? So, you need to be consistent in what you do. When you are consistent in what you do, it maintains your quality. It means the people in your business know exactly what they've got to do, how to do things, and in turn, that sets the client expectation. Okay, the client knows exactly what they're going to get from you. Who's doing serviced accommodation? A few people. So this is a good, you can use this as a very good example. If you're doing serviced accommodation and somebody books your property, And they arrive, and when they get there, there's bottled water in the fridge, there's teas, there's coffees, the beds are made up. On each bed for each guest, there's a hand towel, there's a medium-sized towel and a large towel, there's soap, conditioner, shampoo, etc., all in the bathroom. Then the client, that's what they've got, and they're very, very pleased. Now, if they then say, this was really good, and they book it again, and the next time they visit, there's no water in the fridge, there's tea, but there isn't any coffee, I've now only got 2 towels, and there's no conditioner. There is shampoo, but there's not conditioner. Then all of a sudden, you're probably going to lose that guest. They're never going to book again because they had an expectation based on their first experience, and then they've gone back and they've had something else. Has that ever happened to anybody? Not just with regards to staying in a hotel or service accommodation, but when you're doing business with somebody and the second experience was not the same or as good? Lots of nods. I think we've all experienced